What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Life Lessons. So I wanted to do this video in a very professional way, but I realized that I am a work in progress, and trying to read the teleprompter and trying to, it's just not working for me. Okay, so I have to do it the way it's going to work best for me so that I can provide the best value for you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be reading a bit off of my laptop, so you guys don't be alarmed, and hopefully you guys can still be engaged with the video. Okay, the information is there. It's whether or not you want to listen to it. So today's topic of today's video is about anxiety. Okay, so I am someone who has anxiety. At least, that's what I've thought for a very long time. Anxiety. I had my first panic attack back in 2016, 2017, back when I was in college. Really bad. It was at night. I was in the car with my ex-husband at the time, or my husband at the time, ex-husband now. And it was at night, and it was just like a really, really bad experience. And it also was attached to me smoking, which made those symptoms a lot worse. We'll talk about that more as we go along. But what is anxiety? Okay. Anxiety, by Google definition, is a feeling of fear, dread, and uneasiness. Symptoms I have had in the past are a fast heartbeat. Sometimes I feel really intense, and the negative thoughts that I have just increase exponentially. Okay. And it just starts to make me feel, I start thinking too much about the past, too much about the future, and I can't center myself in the present. Okay. It just feels like nothing is going right, you guys. It just feels like a lot of things are out of my control. But they say it's said to be a normal reaction to stress. Unfortunately, a lot of us go through a lot more stress than others. And so the symptoms and the experiences that we have in relation to anxiety are, greater. Okay, so if you've also gone through trauma in your life, like I said, these feelings or experiences may be intensified. Okay, now, so here are some patterns or symptoms you may have when you've experienced anxiety. So you could be having trouble concentrating or making decisions. You could be feeling irritable, tense, or restless. You could be experiencing nausea or abdominal distress. You could be having heart palpitations. That was that fast heartbeat. You could be sweating, trembling, or shaking. You could also have trouble sleeping, and also having a sense of impending danger, panic, or doom. In some ways related to panic attacks or PTSD. Like I was talking about panic attacks that I had. A lot of the symptoms cross over with panic attacks, but we're not going to go too deep into that. And then for PTSD seems to be a more extreme form of anxiety. Okay, and with PTSD, it's more related to traumatic past events, or specific events in the past that were extremely traumatic. Right? It's not something that just happens. It's not situational like anxiety is, where there's just random stressors like your kids, like work, things of that sort. Okay. But again, I don't want to get off too off topic. Okay. The reason I have related PTSD to anxiety is because months ago I was diagnosed with PTSD, and I always thought it was anxiety. I always thought I had anxiety. I always thought, and I still kind of do, but the more severe version of anxiety is PTSD. And I was diagnosed with that. I was put on meds. However, I decided not to stay on the medication because for whatever reason, it was giving me more anxiety to be on the medication than not to be on the medication. So that didn't last very long. But feel free to add your own experiences in the comment section. Let me know what you've gone through and how, what how anxiety has shown up in your own life. Okay. In your own experiences. Okay. Now let's take a look at some statistics. Okay. Of course, the stats don't account for every individual in the country. However, it is clear that there is a growing fear of the climate in which we live in. Okay. So let's talk about American adults express increasing anxiousness in an annual poll. Stress and sleep are key factors impacting mental health. And of course, sleep is impacting a lot of people because a lot of people are working double, triple the amount of hours that they have, that you would normally work to sustain a home. They have to work double and triple in order to sustain their homes and take care of their families. And so of course, if you're working a lot more, you're sleeping a lot less, and there is a lot more stress that comes with it. Washington, D.C. says May 1st, 2024, this is the poll that came out. In 2024, the results of the American Psychiatric Association's annual mental health poll show that U.S. adults are feeling increasingly anxious. In 2024, 43% of adults say they feel more anxious than they did the previous year, up from 37% in 2023 and 32% in 2022. Adults are particularly anxious about current events, especially the economy, the 2024 U.S. election, and gun violence. When asked about a list of lifestyle factors potentially impacting mental health, adults most commonly say stress and sleep have the biggest impact on the mental health. Younger adults ages 18 to 34 are more likely than older adults 50 plus to say social connection has the biggest impact on their health, on their mental health, which of course has, social connection has of course declined. I feel like it is picking back up, but not at an increasing rate that we would like to see, so that people are less anxious and they're more social. But of course, after the pandemic, and a lot of people had to find shelter inside so that they can, stay away from the sicknesses. A lot of people lost those personal one-on-one interconnections that they had. And so it does seem a lot harder, especially in which the climate we live in, for people to actually socialize with each other and connect with each other. There's just a lot more fear surrounding that, unfortunately. So where does anxiety stem from? So as stated earlier, anxiety can stem from stress. Disruptive sleep patterns have some of the biggest impact on individuals, as well as a lack of social connection for young people. But also there's biological factors such as genetics, brain chemistry, hormonal changes, psychological factors such as traumatic experiences, negative life events, learned behaviors, and cognitive distortions. Also, environmental factors such as social isolation, cultural factors, exposure to violence or adversity, and then some other factors such as medical conditions or substance abuse. If you have anxiety, then it is almost guaranteed you fall into one or many of these categories, you guys. For me, when I realized I had anxiety, I stopped smoking marijuana. So you guys, I stopped because I've been on the self-development journey for a very long time. But it has only been the last 2 to 3 years that I've really been more tapped in with myself. And I've realized that I was having a lot of anxiety and depression, and that I would have like these cycles, and like frequent cycles, like weekly, that I would go through these periods of like low energy, feeling anxious, not wanting to be around people, not wanting to talk to people, not wanting to do the normal activities and things that I need to do day to day. And I realized smoking was a big part of it. So I used to smoke. I was smoking MJ since I was like 18. I started literally right after graduation with a close friend of mine at the time. And I had literally smoked up until it's been almost 2 years now. Okay. It's been almost 2 years now. So I was smoking for about 12 years. Okay. Very long time. Okay. And so it was very hard to kind of weed myself off of it, but I had realized that I was having breathing issues. The anxiety was worse for me because I wasn't in my right mind, and I didn't feel like I had control over myself sometimes. And that created a lot of anxiety. And especially when you're under the influence, you daydream, and your head is kind of in the clouds, and it would lead to a lot more of my anxiety. Like, you would think it would calm me. I think in the past it used to, But as I get older and I'm more, I feel like as I get older and I have to be more aware of my reality since I have kids, I think that it started to create more anxiety in me because I feel like I was out of control. I didn't have as much control. But either way, I started cutting out marijuana. And I'm in the process of quitting cigarettes. I've stopped smoking cigarettes for about 2 weeks now. Okay. So that has drastically decreased the amount of times I will experience anxiousness and overwhelm. Okay, you guys. However, of course, it's not the end all be all. Since I have yet to fully cure my anxiety, I cannot say for a fact you can get rid of it. Now, it's a disorder. The way I'm talking about it is as if like I have like, you know, a yeast infection and I could just get it away. You know, it's not like that. But, you know, I have suffered trauma and abuse, mental, emotional, physical, sexual. And so there are many different triggers that I have that that create the anxiousness within me. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things. And if you've gone through all of that as well, then of course it's not ever just one thing. It's not ever like just a relationship, or it's not ever just, it's not ever just one thing. Okay. And of course, everyone's different. Though I am triggered daily, I've come to know myself well enough to recognize the patterns and the symptoms as they creep up on me. And I think that's super important. It's very important for a lot of us it's very important for you to learn yourself, know yourself, and understand yourself, so that when things like this happen, you can assess it, you can acknowledge it, and then you can find ways to fix it and treat it. Okay. If you try to push it on the back burner and try to act like it's not there, I promise it's going to creep back up, and it's going to show up in different ways and in many ways that you don't want it to show up, right? It's going to negatively impact your life overall. Okay. So moving back into how we can work through our anxiety, how do we overcome it, or at least make it take a back seat so that we can finally enjoy and live our life to the fullest? I'm sorry. Here are at least 10 steps you can take to overcome your anxiety and live a fruitful and more peaceful life, okay? Number 1, decrease the amount of alcohol and drugs you consume. I know y'all want to have fun. I know y'all want to turn up. I know y'all want to, I drink beet juice, okay? We working on our health, okay? I know you want to turn up. I know you want to have fun. I know you think that if you drink, consume alcohol, if you do drugs, you do all this stuff, it just makes your experiences that much more fun. That's great and all, but I'm telling you right now, it is making your anxiety worse. And the thing I want to speak about that is that we are in a different age now, right? Maybe 10 plus years ago when we were doing those things, it was fun. They weren't as altered. We were turning up. Nowadays, you don't know what they're putting in your drugs. You don't know what they're putting in the alcohol. You don't know what you don't know. And so you don't know what you're consuming, which means, you know, those times where you're feeling loopy and you're feeling anxious, you know, it could easily be taken away by you just consuming less or not consuming at all. Second, number 2, watch what you eat. Watch what you eat. Sugar causes a rapid rise in blood sugar levels, which can trigger the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones can increase feelings of anxiety and nervousness. When I tell you that rush that I get in my body when I drink something that has a lot of sugar, or when I eat something that has a lot of sugar, my heartbeat starts to race like crazy, and I can feel myself getting anxious. There's nothing happening other than the fact that I'm being fat in the moment. There's nothing happening, and I just start myself feeling anxious, and I have to sit back like, okay, I literally have to fast off the next couple of hours, you know, into the next day possibly, so that I can rid myself of those feelings, because it sits in your body until it's able to break down all of that in your body and let it come out. But if it's taking a while to break it down, then you're going to be feeling anxious for a very long time. Number 3, make sure you get some sunlight. This is big because a lot of us like to be, you know, I'm a big person where I'm paying rent, I'm gonna be inside. I can't stand knowing that I'm paying rent for a place and I'm outside more often than I'm inside. I get that. I get that mentality, but at the same time, you need sun. You need nature. You need to be outside where you can feel the fresh air, smell the fresh air, and just be out in the breeze. You need to be able to feel the sun on your face, on your body. You need to be outside getting fresh sunlight and not in here under the artificial light or in the dark. Okay. A lot of people like to sit in the dark and watch murder shows and all that crazy stuff. Stop. Like, you're like, I'm anxiety. I have so much anxiety all the time, but like, every night before I go to bed, I watch people get their head shot off. I mean, listen. Number 4, accomplish something. Clean the kitchen, your yard, cook your favorite meal, etc. Do something that you're going to feel good about. Do something, accomplish something, get something done. When you start to feel anxious, you have to remember that you're thinking about things that aren't even happening. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to anxiety. We're not talking about all, the extra branch offs to anxiety. We're talking about specifically anxiety. When you're really anxious and in the moment, you are, a lot of times nothing's actually happening in the present moment. You're just thinking about what you didn't do, why you should have did it better. When was the last time you did this and this? And you get overwhelmed and you have to sit back and take a step back. Okay, what's one thing I can accomplish right now? Okay, I got to take the trash out. Take the trash to the curb. That's like an accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, my trash has been here for the last 2-3 days. I'm getting anxious. Let me take that to the curb. That's one thing off your list. Next, you come in, oh, there's dishes inside the strainer. Let me put those dishes away. Okay? Accomplish something. The smallest thing will make you feel so much better. I'm telling you. And then the small things add up to big things. I mean, if you're putting your dishes away, you're putting your trash out, you know what I mean? You're going and wiping down your bathroom. These little things are contributing to your household. So when you come into your house, you're like, okay, I did this, and this. You feel good about yourself. You see what I'm saying? Number 5, give your anxiety a voice. Now, I know they say that you can, when you have anxiety, like I haven't been taught this. Sorry. I haven't been taught this personally, but they say that you can focus on 3 things at a time or something. 3 places, 3 things, 3 people, something like that. 3 places of your body or something of that sort. You can do that as well. I also think that, give your anxiety a voice. What you ignore will persist. Stop acting like it's not there. Okay. Stop acting like you're not anxious. Stop acting like, they a lot of times they want us to say, you know what, if you're feeling a certain way, just act like, fake it till you make it. That only works for so long. It only works for so long. And because depending on the trigger that created that anxiousness to begin with, you may not be able to use that same sort of you may not be able to use that same thing to overcome that particular experience at that time. So you can say something like, I am okay in the here and now. It is the present, not the past or the future. I can overcome anything. You can say things like that. You can even come up with your own, write down your own phrases, your own affirmations. But that will center you in the present moment and make you realize like, okay, I'm tripping. I'm okay. I can overcome anything. It's the present moment. The past is gone because I'm here right now and the future hasn't even gotten here yet. Okay. You can do things like that. Number 6, journal. Write all of your feelings down. Write about the people or the places that bring you the most anxiousness and identify why that is. When you're writing down, you're journaling, you're expressing yourself. You're getting things off your chest that you don't feel like comfortable expressing to other people. Okay. Not only are you doing that, but you sit and you write down, man, I don't like this coworker. Every time I go around this coworker, I start to feel anxious because X, Y, and Z. Or I get anxious when my daughter goes to do this, blah, 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 because you know what I'm saying? If you write it down, you're giving it a voice. and you're acknowledging, okay, this is a particular person or this is a particular place that brings me a lot of anxiousness or brings me a lot of worry, and I can find a way to move around it, not participate anymore, or confront said person so that you can, let them in on what you're going through so that they can try to change something that they're doing. And if they can't, then you just move on. You know what I mean? Simple. Number 7, consume content that lifts you up rather than scares you back into submission. We just talked about that. Stop watching murder mysteries. Stop watching Special Victims SVU. You guys, I used to watch when I was pregnant. I thought that my anxiousness, like I'm thinking about my kid being born and like my first kid, it was like very overwhelming. And I would watch SVU, Special Victims Unit. I used to watch it growing up as a kid. And during my pregnancy, for the beginning, I would just sit and I'd watch it. But I would get so much anxiety because of the things that was happening. It was traumatic. You know, that show is so traumatic. And I can remember just like going to sleep dreaming about things like that would happen on the show, or I would just be in fear and I would think about the future, about what about my kid and all this stuff. And I made the decision one day to just stop. I just stopped watching it altogether, and found something else to watch because I knew right then and there that it was affecting me negatively. So you have to watch the things that you consume. Watch more motivational things, uplifting stuff. If you think listening to things that are going to uplift you and make you feel good are corny, bro, I don't even know what to tell you, because things are just going to suck for you always because you're consuming negativity, and so you're attracting negativity. Number 8, only do what brings you joy and stop being a people pleaser. This was me too. I am a people pleaser. Seriously. I'm still working on that. I don't think I am as much anymore, but I've stopped being a people pleaser so much to the point that I just stopped talking to people altogether. And I think that's just as bad because I don't make social connections. But I do want to say that, when you're a people pleaser and you're doing things that are not aligned with you, and you're doing things that don't make you feel good, and you're doing things just because other people want to, more often than you're doing things that you want to do for yourself, you will have a feeling of anxiousness, or anxiety, because you're always doing what other people want to do. So they're at peace and they're having fun because they're doing what they want to do, but it's outside of what you want to do, right? It's outside of your comfort zone. It's not to say that you shouldn't do things that are outside of your comfort zone, but when you as a person are so attached to what or who someone else is and what they're doing, you feel outside of yourself. And that's a lot of times where some of that anxiousness can occur as well. Okay. Number 9, shower as often as possible. Now, y'all not going to tell the truth. You're not going to get in the comments. I already know. I know how social media is already. I know. A lot of people who are anxious don't take showers. Let me tell you why. Because when you take showers, you feel clean, you feel more at ease, you feel fresh, right? When you don't take showers, you are holding all that dirt and plaque and grossness from the outside world and from what you've previously gone through. So you don't give yourself space to have a new, fresh experience because you're carrying that old energy with you. Take more showers. If you're taking showers every other day, or if you're taking showers 3-4 times a week, take a shower every single day of the week. Do a bird bath every single day of the week. Do something, right? Stop just getting up to brush your teeth and comb your hair into a ponytail and go on with your life. Take a shower. That's the same as a lot of times for depression too. When I was depressed, bro, I spent a long couple of years. I wouldn't say that I'm depressed anymore. I say that I definitely have depressive states sometimes, but I'm nowhere near who I used to be in that depressive state. And I was in a depressive state for years. And I did not want to take a shower. I didn't want to take a shower. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. And it prolonged it. It just made me feel worse and worse and worse. Okay. It was to the point where the people I was in a relationship with, or the person, would tell me like, Shay, go wash your ass. You know what I mean? Go take a shower. You'll feel better. Now I take baths, every other day. I shower. I do all of that. And I feel million times better. So shower, guys, shower. Last but certainly not least, show up for yourself. Show up for yourself. If you are not keeping your promises to yourself, you're procrastinating important projects, you're failing to hold yourself to a standard, you will continue to lack confidence. I believe confidence is one of the biggest ways to fight anxiety, because when you feel good about yourself and you know that you're accomplishing your goals, no matter how small they are, you feel like a winner. Your joy is anchored in the present and keeps you from stressing about the past or the future. I don't even know if I should say any more about that. I think this is almost, it's almost like number 4, we were talking about, accomplish something, accomplish small goals, do small things. You have to hold yourself to a standard. You may be waiting for somebody else to hold you to a standard, or people are holding you to a standard and you're just like, I don't have to be held to that standard. I can do what I want. Well, guess what? You're going to fall short for yourself every single time that you don't hold yourself to some sort of standard, because that's where a lot of the anxiety is going to come from as well, because you're not accomplishing your goals, and you're walking around like a victim. Okay. So I guarantee there are more ways to overcome anxiety. If you know of any, feel free to leave them in the comment section, you guys. If you made it through this entire video, you guys, congratulations, because it is quite clear that you are on the journey to self-growth and development. You love yourself and you want more and you want better for yourself. And, I hope this video was helpful for you. I also hope that me sharing my knowledge is assisting you on your journey. I want you guys to catch me in another episode of Life Lessons here on YouTube. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you in the next one. Peace.